we're going to be fighting baseball players, and that's going to be pretty much it because we still got basketball players in the small court, and I already fought those. So I'm just going to take care of the baseball players for today. And after that, I guess, since I want to record this all in one day, I'm going to go fight some trainers on Route 16 to pad out this video a little bit. The reason is because, well, last night was our monthly meeting with CoroCoro, and of course I slept through all of it because time zones just sucked like that. But anyway, we learned many interesting things today. First and foremost, we finally got the types for Xerneas and Yveltal. Xerneas will be Mono Fairy, and Yveltal will be Dark Flying. Now, the latter was a pretty easy conclusion to draw, just judging by its appearance. But Xerneas, I have to say I'm a bit surprised that it's just Mono Fairy. I mean, it definitely looks like it should be at least part steel. Well, it definitely looks more steel-like than Lucario at any rate. But, yeah, of course, this, well, it really depends on your point of view on that, but that data was already made public by the dumbest beta tester to ever live. And you probably know who I'm referring to at this point, since there's been so much talk about that saga over the last 2 months. Man, I can't believe it's only been 2 months. It feels like it's been going on for longer than that. But enough about that. We also found out what kind of abilities they will have. Xerneas will have Fairy Aura, which is going to boost Fairy-type moves, and Yveltal will have Dark Aura, which will boost the power of Dark moves. Now, it's not known by how much exactly they will be boosted, but my personal guess would be somewhere between 20 and 50%. And even if it's just 10%, at least it will still be more useful than Terravolt and Turbo Blaze. I mean, what have Terravolt and Turbo Blaze ever done for you? Well, unless for some reason you kept running into Heatran and Ubers, in which case just disregard that. But overall, Terravolt and Turbo Blaze were sort of a disappointment, so I'm really glad that they're giving Xerneas and Yveltal some useful abilities, even though they are a bit on the straightforward side. But I'm not complaining, it's going to be useful. And the fun thing about these two is that, well, guess what the Uber tier is populated with the most at the moment? That's right, Dragons and Psychic. Fairy beats Dragon, Dark beats Psychic. So, I don't know if this was an intentional move on Game Freak's part. I honestly wouldn't put it past them because, well, they seemed really aware that Dragon was just too good, and they made a whole new type with the express purpose of stopping dragons, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was all intentional in their way of, you know, giving us something to counteract all these dragons and psychics. But anything we can say about that, it's just theory. It's not like Game Freak will ever answer that with a definitive answer. Also, new villainous team, Team Flare. Apparently their main motivation is money, so I guess this is sort of a throwback to the Team Rocket days where they didn't have some ridiculously ambitious goal. They're just in it for the money and the laws of doing crime, at least. That's how they're being depicted as, though, of course, we can expect Xerneas and Yveltal to tie into the whole Team Flare subplot at one point. And I know there were many people who were wishing to go back to the days where, you know, there was just no need for grand stories with the likes of Cyrus and Ghetsis having some crazy ambition. You know, just go back to, you know, crime being done for the sake of what crime is usually done for, which is money, power, that kind of stuff. So I guess these people have been pleased. Once again, I guess there's a whole lot of crowd-pleasing going on in Generation 6. Well, not that I'm complaining, as long as it doesn't drag down the overall products, because we can all agree that some Pokemon fans have no grasp whatsoever of what's best for them. But and by that I'm not trying to belittle anyone in particular. I'm just saying that, the Pokemon fan base at times can sound like one of the more stupid fan bases out there, especially when you pay any attention to the likes of Gen 1ers. But overall, yeah, I really, really love the direction they've been going with X and Y, and yeah. So I guess I'm done with the big stadium for now. Of course, I'm going to come back one last time when there are football players in here. But for now, I'm going to head over to Route 16 and fight the trainers that are there. And, oh, you know what? Fuck the musical. As I said, I'm not even going to bother entering the building, because it has not changed at all since last time. I think it's parts 27 and 28 of the White 1 LP where I covered that. So if you want to know anything about the musicals, go there. It hasn't changed whatsoever in this game. Macho Brace, which increases the amount of EVs you get after a battle. However, your speed is halved. This is sort of like, when you prepare for batting in baseball, you're often going to have you're going to use a bat that's much heavier than the one you actually bat with, so that when you actually bat with the lighter bat, it swings a whole lot faster, and you can potentially get a lot more power out of that. Well, I don't know if that's what professionals do anyway, but that's a trick I think that can be done. But I'm just rambling on at that point, and I guess you want to hear me talk about Pokemon some more. So yeah, Pokemon. Of course, CoroCoro has made public a lot of Pokemon, the most notable, of course, being Inkay and Malamar, the psychic dark squids. And it's sort of weird, because they're squids, but they are not water types, even though they're clearly aquatic Pokemon, and they don't have any aquatic-based abilities either. They've got Contrary, which makes sense with their theme, which I'm going to get into in just a minute, and it also has Suction Cups, but I think Contrary is probably going to be the ability of choice, especially if it gets some moves to exploit Contrary, which I guess we'll see once the game is released. But the interesting thing about Inkay and Malamar is that, well, especially if you look at Malamar, it looks like it's an upside-down squid that's like right side up, and I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it looks a bit crazy, but that's because of the whole gimmick they were going with, because I don't remember which is which, but one of them is the reversal Pokemon. I think it's Malamar, and Inkay is the rotation Pokemon. And get a load of this. According to Sarah B's new Pokemon page, Inkay evolves into Malamar using a brand new evolution method, which, according to the source that leaked some data all the way back in May, according to this guy, Inkay evolves into Malamar by turning the 3DS upside down on a level up. Now, I'm not sure about the specifics, if it's, it has to be upside down when it dings or when the battle ends or whatever, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some other restrictions, so you can't just, grab an Inkay and evolve it into Malamar instantly at no cost. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be at least a minimum level at which you can pull this off or something like that. I'm just sort of hoping that this isn't going to be too much of a guy dang it for the people that are less internet savvy, so to speak. And also, in keeping with the whole reversal theme, they get a special move which I think only they are going to get, because it's called Turnover, which fits perfectly with their gimmick. Well, of course, no move or ability stays purely something's signature move until the end of time, because, well, even stuff that was in Generation 5, such as Horn Leech, it's getting passed around now, but I think at least for the next few years, turnover will be strictly a Malamar thing, and that move, what it does is pretty interesting, in that it reverses stat changes. So for example, if your opponent uses Swords Dance, and you use turnover afterwards, suddenly your opponent is going to be at -2 attack instead of +2, which can lead to some pretty interesting shenanigans. It sounds cool in theory, though, but we'll have to see in practice, because there are many things in Pokemon that sound cool in theory, but in practice, for some reason or another, it doesn't work as well as you'd expect, such as, for example, Gravity teams. You don't see them nearly as much as weather teams, despite the gimmick being pretty interesting, and it sounds pretty solid on paper, but it's just not that impressive. So anyway, this is the toll booth that leads to the Marvelous Bridge. We couldn't even enter it before the post-game in Black and White 1, but here the cutoff line is just at the end of the toll booth. As you can see, there's an NPC blocking the access to the Marvelous Bridge itself. And although we can explore most of northeastern Unova in the main game, that part with Marvelous Bridge and Route 15 cannot be entered at all in the main game. You have to wait until the post game for that. And by the way, there was a strength boulder over there where I'm not equipped to push it yet, to put it bluntly. I really should get around to evolving that Patrat of mine one of these days so that I can push it out of the way. Of course, this is something that I'm going to be doing off-screen, since this is an HM slave we're talking about. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. Malamar seems to be meant as a Pokemon that is sort of meant to be a nightmare for setup sweepers, kind of like Ditto and Quagsire are. Of course, will it be more effective than that? That remains to be seen. And the fun thing about their Psychic Dark typing is that it's one of those typings where so many weaknesses are cancelled by the other type that it's just crazy. If you look at their type chart, I have some time, so I'm gonna head into Lost Lorn Forest. There's a trainer right there, so I'm gonna fight him and end the video on that note. But yeah, fun little thing is that because of all these weaknesses canceling each other out, Psychic Dark turns out to be a pretty decent defensive typing, all things considered. Of course, it doesn't have any resistances whatsoever, and only one immunity, of course, to Psychic, since it's Dark type, and one quadruple weakness to Bug, but aside from that, it's neutral to absolutely everything. Except potentially for Fairy, since we don't know the details on that yet. But, yeah, this is... Oh, are you serious? I missed Rock Slide on the turn. It's not using Detect. Just watch. It's going to use Detect again on the next turn. I'm going to have to wait. No! Well, okay. I'm not complaining. But anyway, I guess I should hurry up and wrap this up. So I'm just going to say that, well, when I first saw Malamar's appearance, I was like, what the heck? But then I remembered how Inkay is supposed to evolve into it, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, you flip basically the entire universe upside down, so it's like it's an upside down squid, so it makes perfect sense, and in a twisted sort of way, I absolutely love it! But enough about that. There are still some more things I want to say about the other Pokemon that were revealed and other assorted stuff, but I don't think there's any rush for that, so I'm going to leave it at that for today and keep the remainder of what I have to say for next time.